The new Superman movie could be in big trouble with James Gunn apparently dropping the American way from Superman's motto. It's not okay with many audience members out there who may say, we remember when Superman was more than this, and we'll miss going to see the movie this time. Folks, we'll tell you what's on the line for DC and what James Gunn might lose by getting away from the red, white, and blue. Hello folks, welcome back to the Pro Channel. It is a joy to have you here where we dissect entertainment with the scalpel of truth. Folks, we do it because we believe entertainment has a massive impact on culture, and we think that culture, society, and humans really do matter. Imagine that! We fancy ourselves as fans of the human race. Folks, all we ask is that you click the like button, and let's talk about superheroes, Superman specifically, right now. Out of cosmic book news, this is not going to be controversy. Oh no, not a bit. Matt McGloin is the author here, and Matt McGloin, appreciate you and appreciate you bringing this our way. New Superman ditches patriotism for politics under James Gunn. No American way. But look at that hair wave. Look at that. Look at that curl. That's impressive. All right, here we go.
Rubber or CGI, and why does he have Star Trek sideburns? That's what I want to know.
Wouldn't you love to be there in the dressing room and just, we got to make one curl, sir, every single day. It's got to be the exact same way, one curl. All right, and what comes as no surprise, James Gunn's Superman ditches the classic and traditional motto of the Man of Steel, replacing the American way with the more politically correct, the human way, which I don't know if James Gunn has noticed, but there are lots of different human ways. There's a broad scope of different human ways. The phrase truth, justice, and the American way was first popularized during the 1940s in the Adventures of Superman radio show. It became iconic with the 1950s Superman TV series starring George Reeves. It's long been associated with the Man of Steel. However, similar to Gunn, Bryan Singer also dropped the line in the 2006 Superman Returns movie. So what are they going to use now? The official Superman movie merchandise featuring David Cornsweet as Superman features a description on the box that replaces the American way with the human way, which reminds me of the Rick and Morty episode where Jerry is listening to totally generic music, and it's human music. It says, Superman must reconcile his alien Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing as reporter Clark Kent, as the embodiment, folks, here it is, as the embodiment of truth, justice, and the human way. He soon finds himself in a world that views these as old-fashioned. I don't know how you could have the human way be old-fashioned. I didn't even know the human way existed until just a minute ago because I thought humans did all kinds of things. Ben, I'm going to hand it to you and just say, as we kick this off, why didn't they just skip the entire line? This is way, way worse than if you just completely left the thing out.
What about Crypto?
The dog? You want the dog to say it?
Well, he's not the human way, is he?
He's the canine way.
Yeah, so there you go.
Yeah, I would assume that they just want a reference to the iconic line, change it up for a modern audience, and it's probably going to be, something like, "Hey, we have aliens that are coming to invade Earth or whatever, and we got to show them the human way or something like that," which is why they include.
Where is this in the movie?
Well, apparently it's on the box. It's on the box for the merch, Chado, and I don't know that it's going to be in the movie at all.
Oh,
but somebody has made the call that they're not going to put the American way in the slogan. So, Chado, I guess what my question is, why didn't they just not fool with it at all? This is a slogan that comes from a time when this was primarily, chiefly aimed at American audiences. It's now aimed at a global audience. Yeah, if you don't want to touch it, just don't touch it.
Yeah, I agree.
So plus,
I think it's a mistake. I think it's not going to hurt anything. It's going to give online pundits something to talk about. But if it's not in the movie and it's not some gigantic credit like in the Steve Reeves television show, where I believe as he was standing in front of the flapping flag, I think some credit came up with those words on it because I used to watch that show all the time.
Oh yeah,
I could be
great
wrong.
show.
Yeah, it was wonderful and a great memory. And I think you're right. Who cares? Just leave it out. And I think it makes sense to leave it out. I mean, that was a bit of jingoism at the time that made a sense. And in this movie, apparently he's a world character. So yeah, but someone came up with the idea of purposely DEIing the line, which actually makes it worse.
Right. That's the thing that I think is important here is if you don't say the line, it doesn't come up. But if you do say the line and you change it, then it becomes this. I don't know the thing I said
all of us
online.
Talking about it though, doesn't it?
It's like saying it's a bird, it's a plane,
go to the
it's a
picture of the
human.
box. Go to the picture of the box.
Oh, hang on a second. Let me get down there. Here we go, folks. We're going down to the box.
So when it says it's hand painted, doesn't that imply, you should pardon the expression, Korean sweatshops in China? And isn't that the human way too?
Well,
my canoe head was made in sweatshops in China.
You must be so proud.
I am. As a white person living in North America, I reserve the right to exploit labor anywhere else in the world to my benefit.
You and your darn Canadian privilege.
That's damn straight.
That's Canadian privilege A to you.
I did see a clip from Film Threat, and we love the guys over there. That being Chris Gore and Alan Ng, do some fantastic work over there. But I remember Chris Gore talking about how the film, and it's been very heavily rumored that upon test screenings, maybe audiences didn't resonate 100% with what was actually on screen, and maybe that's maybe there are edits and cuts and certain things going on in the background in order to get this thing ready for its big debut right here. But I remember Chris Gore saying that maybe the Americana aspects featured in the film that were a little bit more subtle might be being addressed in later revisions of the film, as in more pronounced and more prominent. So perhaps what we're seeing, at least with this merchandise item, was a prior iteration of the film that no longer exists. Perhaps they will emphasize that it's truth, justice, in the American way, and we're just not seeing it. I think that is a distinct possibility, but again, we're talking about James Gunn here, so who knows?
Right. Well, as I was saying before, it's like if you took the line, it's a bird, it's a plane, and then you made that into, it's a human. That just doesn't work. So if you don't like that line, if you don't use that line because you're like, oh, well, we can't say bullet anymore. Okay, well, just don't say the line. Because when you say, it's a bird, it's a plane, faster than, if you say it's a human, it just doesn't work. Here's what is on the line here. I just want to show everybody this out of the direct from Kleinfeld, which is that's a name. June 3rd was the date this was came out. DC announced its 7th new show in James Gunn's DCU slate. James Gunn is really just casually confirming new DC Studios projects in his social media replies. Take a look at all the stuff that is coming out of DC for TV shows on streaming, and just think for a moment that everything, all of this money, basically depends on Superman doing well at the box office this summer. You've got Green Lantern, Superman Legacy, Supergirl, Booster Gold, Creature Commandos, Waller, Paradise Lost, Batman the Brave and the Bold, all in that one picture.
And the animated Crypto.
That's right. James Gunn recently confirmed a new DCU TV show in the works at DC Studios, and it's going to be Crypto the Superdog. Now, none of this works if Superman doesn't work. So that's why we're paying very close attention to what's coming out with the merchandise and the slogans and all of that, because if Superman fails in the second weekend, I don't think it's going to fail in the first weekend. We've got the projections out for that, and it's looking pretty darn good. The second weekend, that's when the word of mouth is going to kick in. This movie needs to do well. It doesn't need controversy, and it doesn't need online divisive discourse. It needs most people to just be on board with it, because this is the launching board for at least hundreds of millions of dollars of investments. Culture, you see it any other way?
No. I see scaled back plans. I see a lack of foresight by somebody who's supposed to be a co-studio head. I see a future of collapse if Superman doesn't get off the ground well.
You mean for the DC, or you mean for Warner Brothers as a whole?
I'm saying for DC and Warner Brothers as a whole. Warner Brothers is in huge trouble. Most people don't realize the board widely rejected Zaslav's pay scale increase to $54 million after the most recent meeting. You're seeing
he needed it.
well, I'm just saying is I see a lot of problems ahead for them. They've been hit or miss in the box office, which is something that they had been able to avoid for a while, unlike Disney. And now you're on shaky ground, whether it be with these other series that have been canceled or the other films that have been put on hold, and some of the projects that they had originally envisioned continuing being removed from the calendar. I don't think you're going to get a lot of what was promised early on, because this film, if it's not a grand slam, I keep saying this, if Superman is not a grand slam, everybody's like, hunting for Zaslav's head, as well as, maybe other things. But
what's your definition of a grand slam?
The Donner quality of film, which seems to satisfy everybody and is timeless, so it encourages everybody's support.
Well, I think culture, just briefly to interrupt, I think on the Grand Slam side of things, all they really care about, I mean, the fans care about one thing, the businesses care about business, and they care about what the box office is. So in terms of Grand Slam, I think this thing's got to make $750 million. I think that's sort of the baseline for what it needs. And I don't know, Chad, do you think that you agree with that, about 750 is where this needs to land at a minimum?
Yeah, so there's two aspects to this. Number one, as Culture mentioned, you just mentioned the numbers. I think if it can hit 800 million, then I think it's significant. And then the other part is it going to enter our zeitgeist in the way that other films in the past have done? That's going to be hard, right? Is it going to be able to? Now it's a whole new generation, several generations later than the Donner film, right? Is this going to be significant to the present generation? Is it going to be their version of the Donner film? Is it going to be the first Star Wars? I mean, it's so hard to do that these days, with TV not being TV anymore and movies no longer being movies. Although this looks pretty slick, this production. The big concern is, can anything enter the zeitgeist anymore as something super special in the way the first Harry Potter film did? I mean, is that even possible?
Well,
we had Chicken Jockey. That's something, eh?
Okay, but I want to get back to where
you mock that, but all of my kids are wanting to see the Minecraft movie, even the ones that don't actually have an interest in Minecraft itself. So just going to point out, in 30 years, there'll be callbacks specifically to that movie.
The Chicken Jockey. What do you think, Culture? Do you think there's zeitgeist happening with this film?
No, I don't. I think a lot of people are worried, which would include me. And I've been polling people. I've been talking to people. One of the things I do now when I go see a film is, upon exit, I talk to the people that are willing to be vocal about it and find out what they felt about the film. And then I ask them, what did you think is the most impressive preview? What films are you looking to go see? Something along those lines. And I'm going to say, this is not exactly getting rosy interest. This is not something that's going to be driving box office. And they're spending, mind you, somewhere between 150 and 200 million in marketing alone. And if the budget's 225 million plus, your estimates of how much this film needs to make are way too low.
Yeah.
It a minimum of $425 million all in on this. You're looking at 900 million as you're close to break even number. So I don't see this movie being profitable. And unless it crosses $1 billion, there's no way to guarantee it made the studio money.
This is the one time, though, Culture, when I'm going to say that profitability doesn't matter for the first film. Whatever it costs to make people care about DC for the next decade, they got to spend it, because if this doesn't work, nothing works going forward. Like, you can just can the whole thing.
Right. And that's why I said this has to be a grand slam. We can pretend that the money doesn't matter, but Warner Brothers isn't in the best shape ever. They are one of the debt crisis studios that we have there. I'm sorry. You step back and you look at this as purely a business endeavor, which you should be doing as a studio. Unless you capture the public's attention, which again, for those of you who think I do not like this film at all, you're wrong. I need this to be good. I want this to be good, but everything I'm hearing is pointing against everything that, well, a fan would believe in. You guys can pretend that Superman's a world character. He's a world character because he's the Western optimization of humanity. He's our Superman. He's American made, American representation of perfection.
Real American hero.
Well, maybe that's the case, and I'm not really.
I'll say this. I was
that
optimistic.
Could explain.
Go ahead.
That could explain dropping the whole American way thing because they're scared to death about overseas box office.
Yeah, that's not. I'm going to tell you right now. If it's good, people are going to around the globe are going to ignore that line. It's going to be translated differently, anyways. I won't even begin to pretend that should matter. And you know what? In previous iterations, it hasn't. And the people that drive politics into everything are doing it again. And let me tell you, here in the States, and we need to stop pretending that other countries are equal, because they're not.
Well, and I'm not saying that it's right. I'm saying that's the kind of logic that these people at the studio may be employing.
I know, but they've been wrong at every turn. So let's reinvest in being wrong for another 15 years. That's dumb.
I'll just point out, as we're talking about truth, justice, and the human way, if they're actually dumb enough to put that in the movie, which is okay, I get it if they leave out the patriotism, but I'm more offended that the line is now lame. Michael Bay and what he did with the Transformers movies, I think he had at least a 30 American flag minimum in the background of every shot. It was almost distracting once you noticed it. But those films actually did really well overseas. I don't think other countries look at American cinema and say, you know what, it needs to be a Chinese movie. And if they want it to be a Chinese movie, well, the Chinese can fund the third or fourth one, and they can set a scene over in China like they've done with Avengers and also with Transformers. I think in this case, Superman is a quintessentially American character, and there are people who are maybe not so crazy about America that are in charge of it at the moment. So if this is the international packaging and they want to take the word American off of there because they want to make sure that they get into all the places that they can get into, fine. But if this is in the movie as truth, justice, and the human way, the great crime is that it's lame.
I look forward to the Chinese dubbing where it says state surveillance and the Chinese way. That will be beautiful. Hey, Chado, as someone living in Canada, someone who is Canadian and is currently attempting to get into Alberta so that you can get your 51st state status. Culture, what do you make of all of these red, white, and blue dudes talking about it this way? What's your take on it as a guy who is an international man of mystery?
Specifically, what's your question, though? Because
just as a meta thought on the entire conversation, because this has all been American points of view minus Chado, and so I'm just curious, Chado, how do you see this? I mean, do you feel that Superman is a quintessentially American icon, and therefore you can't strip the Americanism out of Superman, or is
I think my point is I don't mind it. It's not a question of stripping or not. It's that it's easily recognized outside of the United States, certainly in Canada and all over the world, that Superman is an American icon, but so is the entire superhero business. That there's lots of, and don't forget, entertainment and quote Hollywood as a brand is also identified as American. So there's more pieces to this puzzle than you might think in terms of how the world itself views the products, the entertainment products that the United States makes. So again, even with all the bad things that are being said about Hollywood being the next Detroit, that's really an internal discussion. The rest of the world doesn't view Hollywood that way at all. It still has an important imprimatur out there as a brand, even though internally you're ruining it, which is ironic. So
I'll tell you what's ironic. Of all of Canada, the part that most resembles Smallville in Kansas is Alberta and Saskatchewan.
Yeah, which they actually shot some of Superman there.
Right.
Not this one. I think part of the Donner film or one of the Superman films actually shot out in Alberta.
Yeah.
But of course, that I don't think the world minds at all Superman being an American brand.
Right. And Kansas in Smallville is definitely Vancouver. So
can I tell you what I think might have happened here. I think that maybe the folks at Warner Brothers and James Gunn overthought this, because these decisions happen months in advance at least. And I just wonder if somebody merchandising maybe 6 months ago, post-election, said, "Oh my gosh, the globe is going to hate us now. We can't call it the American way. Quick, change it to something. What do we got? What about the human way, sir? What about the human way?"
Just add one thing. That one picture that you showed with Superman on the bed, obviously in his house where his parents live, and the dog on his lap, and he's looking up. The one thing that's missing is a Farrah Fawcett poster on the ceiling.
Yes. Yeah, that would be perfect. Oh, I would love it.
On the right in that picture, the crab joys.
I'm worried. The cranberries, maybe. What?
He does need the fair. Mighty Crab Joys.
Oh, weird. Okay.
What is that a reference
the crab
to?
People.
That's a James Gunn thing, I'm sure.
Is it?
He really loves to put. He's big into music, and he loves to put references to the music he likes.
Obscure bands.
Quick, somebody figure out what the positions are on the chessboard. We'll find out some sort of secret spoiler inside of Superman. Sleuth it, folks. Sleuth it.
I'm just concerned because everything that I see, whether it be still image or part of these teasers and trailers and such, is there's so much blur effects going on right now. I'm worried that the whole film is going to be polluted with that, and then it's just going to be a blurry mess, which is going to include the CGI. I mean, that's one of the ways you hide the faults in your CGI is the blurs on the outside of your imagery. This needs to be good. I want it to be good, but everything I'm seeing is not pointing in that direction. And this adding this political stir on top of the cyber monkeys and all the other crap that's been in this film, and then Gunn coming out and defending the runtime and the change in length and the
and saying that
editing
they couldn't
process.
force him to cut it anyway because it was his movie, not theirs. Yeah, that chance.
I like you said, there's a reason why this is so important. It's so important because it's really the last effort that they'll have at a superhero thing. Because this Supergirl film is not exactly impressing either. So I'm down on it, and maybe this is just a bad day for me because I've been so disappointed by all these studios in various different ways. I mean, I just got done with an hour worth of watching Disney World destroy itself, and now I'm gonna see the man of Seals. I guess he's not the Man of Steel anymore.
Fantastic Four comes up first.
That's a great palate cleanser. Well, folks, we're going to keep track of this. We're going to watch and see what happens. Is James Gunn attacking the red, white, and blue? Well, we'll know in a few weeks when we go to see Superman. Will it be bold or will it be weak at the box office? And it is time to put a bow on it, for this one, folks, is a gift to everybody who wants to know exactly what's going on in the entertainment industry. And we are so joyful that you were there to receive it. We hope that you had a great time. An attitude of gratitude on this channel every single time you decide to spend time with us. As we get ready to say goodbye, we only ask a few simple things. Click that like button, share, subscribe, click it, and stick it to those algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, so waste not yours. And folks, as you get ready to head out that door, do you have a place on social media that you love to share this sort of thing? Hey, you can make this YouTube video sing by putting it out there for your friends, your family, and for those weirdos who just won't leave you alone. Folks, until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
Hey, Floral, guess what?
You put a fork in Pro's microwave again.
No, that was yesterday.
I don't know that what.
Oh, I've decided to give up on torturing Jonas.
What? Why? In the same way the cat sleeps like 20 hours a day, that was like your purpose.
I know, but I've decided there's bigger fish to fry.
Okay.
Like Lorne. I mean, think about it. Everybody loves him. He's a fan favorite, and frankly, he has almost no weaknesses I can find. Except that he's really smart.
So, you want to annoy the one panelist without a single flaw. because he's smart.
Yeah, like that winged statue at that fancy Paris museum thingy. I want to break the one thing that everyone loves most.
So, kind of like the opposite of Rachel Zegler.
Yeah, exactly. And I get to see her all the time at family reunions anyway.
You get to see Rachel Zegler?
Yeah. She's a total troll. Lives under a bridge, harasses billy goats, the whole 9 yards.
It all makes sense now.
Speaking of which, maybe she'll get me... Okay, I'm gonna call her on my... I'm gonna call her and see if she'll be in the next Indiana Jones. She should be the next Indiana Jones. That'll totally destroy Lord. He loves Indiana Jones.
Oh, that's cruel.
Hey, Rach. I've got a cool idea for you that involves a whip and snakes.
I love that description. It's perfect.
I know, right? Weird, as we always say.